Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaiva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Maiham Dadati Swapadantikam Adadanastinam Dante Ridam Yache Punah Punah Shri Madarupa Padam Bojadhuli Syam Mabajatari Jatmani Nityananda Namastubhyam Premanand Pradayine Kalau Kalmashnashaya Jannavapataye Namaha Umahabadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gaura Tishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Today we are very fortunate that we have this wonderful opportunity to discuss the transcendental divine pastime of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yesterday at Gaura Purnima, our festival celebrations on the occasions of the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. As we all know, about 532 years ago, in 1486, in the month of February, West Bengal, place called Mayapur, that's where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, in the house of Sri Jagannath Mishra and Shachimata. The life and teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are so vast and unlimited that it is not possible that if thousands of devotees would try to speak these glories, that we can cover these glories in this short video, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or 1 hour, 2 hours. His pastimes are unlimited because he is himself Sri Krishna. From Shastra, from Chaitanya Charitamrita, and many other authoritative scriptures, we know that Sri Krishna himself has advented as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Almighty Supreme Personality, Godhead Sri Krishna, is so merciful, full of love for all conditioned souls. And because of that very nature and kind attitude, he is unlimitedly making endeavors and efforts to rescue conditioned souls from this material world. And he takes so many incarnations, sends his devotees to remind us that our true nature is to love him, to be with him. He came as Lord Ram, he came as many forms of Vishnu, and himself, 5,000 years ago, he came as Sri Krishna himself and did wonderful pastimes of Raja Vrindavan, Mathura, and Hastinapur. So he says in Bhagavad Gita Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya dushkam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. That to establish religion in this material world, I come again and again and again to safeguard the devotees and annihilate demons. I come again and again in this material world whenever there is need. So after performing these wonderful pastimes as Krishna himself, he noticed that after he is gone, Kali Yuga started. And as Kali Yuga begins to make its progress, the living entities again begin to forget him. Because of this forgetfulness, they degraded themselves to even more lower modes of nature. So what do we see today? People are always into mental anxieties, sufferings, cheat each other, quarrel. They have no peace, always feeling insecure, worried. Even if they have all the wealth or riches, they are like that. This is the influence of the age of Kali. Sri Krishna, in the form of Paramatma, is sitting in the heart of all living beings, all conditioned souls, and he sees their suffering. So he makes many, many arrangements to remind them that if we can realize ourselves, we can take this opportunity in the form of human being to cultivate spiritual consciousness, then we can immediately be transferred to the transcendental platform where all this material suffering can end forever. But because of the age of Kali and these lust, anger, greed, envy, hatred, these bad, evil forces, it's not possible for the living entity to be successfully come out of this situation and suffering. Seeing this, the most merciful Sri Krishna, he then decides, I have to make another attempt. And then he decides to come as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What is so special about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's incarnation? He is coming as a devotee. In the form of Ram and Krishna, he's coming as Bhagwan. He's not coming as devotee. But in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's coming as a devotee. He wants to show by his own example what we can do, how we can do that while taking care of our material obligations, simply by chanting the names of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, we can achieve ultimate spiritual benefit. The highest perfection that can be attained by any form of yoga can be obtained simply by chanting this holy name. There are many paths for liberation, we know. Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, many, many ways we do that. But which one we should follow? What is the most easiest and most beneficial path of perfection for us? After analyzing all these different paths, we find that there is stringent requirements for the path of Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga. Very difficult. You have to be very pure in your mind, have to have all the sense control, you have to follow all the rules and regulations of Shastra properly. If you're not able to follow that, then you don't achieve success. But in chanting the holy name of Lord, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in Shishtastakam, Tartarpita Nyamita Smaranena Kala. That, oh my Lord, you're so merciful that you have not kept any rules and regulations in the chanting of holy name. You can be in any situation. You can be in any circumstance of life. You may be very intelligent. You may not be very intelligent. You may be very beautiful. You may not be very beautiful. Whoever you may be, in whichever condition of life you are, only and simply by chanting, by repeating this transcendental sound vibration of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, you achieve the greatest benefit, that is love of God. And Sri Krishna becomes completely controlled by your love. That is manifested in the purified heart because of the chanting of holy name. So, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in West Bengal at that time, we hear from the history that the society was not doing very good because of this age of Kali. There were so much problems in this human society. People were fighting, quarreling, killing each other. Almost no rules and regulations of civil code. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared at that time, and then as he grew up, he propagated the chanting of holy name along with his associates, Sri Nityanand Prabhu, Sri Advaita Acharya, Sri Namacharya Haridas Thakur, Sri Gadadhar Pandit, and so many associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, Sri Gopala Bhatta Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, and then all the acharyas from our parampara, they carried on this movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Today, even in our lives, today we are sitting and taking this wonderful benefit of Harinam is only because of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. How Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada in 1965 went to this country, America, and started this movement with the most fallen people. The hippies became happy. This is a very great evidence to the whole world. All the major politicians, big people of this world are trying so hard to find out a solution, how people can respect each other, live in harmony. They're making so much effort, but we're seeing more and more new weapons are coming, more and more diseases coming, more and more terrorism, and so many problems are coming. So people are confused. But within this situation, we are seeing whoever is taking to the process of Krishna consciousness, no matter in which country they are, in which situation they are immediately feeling that bliss in their heart. They're finding the goal of their life. They're able to feel in the heart that missing link is now connected. And that was very simple. They had forgotten themselves as part and parcel of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. Thinking ourselves to be this material body is the root cause of all problems. But who is giving us this teaching in the mainstream world and reminding us about our real identity? No one. Only through pure sadhus that we hear that we are not these material bodies. The simple truth about our existence, if we are not able to understand and accept in our life, nothing can become right and correct in our life at all. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission is very, very simple mission. Simply by chanting this Mahamantra and following Shastra in the association of all the devotees, we can perfect our lives very, very easily and in a very short span of time. All the problems that we are facing, can be easily solved if we take on to the process of Krishna consciousness. Hariranam, Hariranam, Hariranam eva kevalam, kalau nastev, 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 katirannata. In this shloka, it is reaffirmed 3 times. In this age of Kali Yuga, there is no other way, no other way, no other way, but Hariranam eva kevalam. Only the name of Hari is the solution to our all problems and to achieve the highest perfection. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he made this Mahamantra so easily available to all of us, no matter where we are. So today, because we have a short time, so I'm keeping today's class here. If you have any questions or comments, you are most welcome to speak now. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I have a couple of questions.
Yes, please.
Thank you so much for your class. Very nice and inspiring. Yes. The question is, you at the start you was talking about nature of jiva, and the question is, nature of jiva and consciousness is the same thing or different?
Very good question. So, when we talk about the nature, we are talking about in Sanskrit what we call as swabhav. Swabhav. Swabhav, more technically, is the behavior or any object, anything in this, wherever we see in existence, is itself the material it is made up of, and then it has a behavior. For example, we say water. So water, and then water has a property of liquidity. So how do we identify water? By the property of its liquidity. How do we identify fire? By the property of light and heat. So those 2 properties that identify it as a fire are inconceivably different and same at the same time. It's non-different, but it has its existence. So similarly, we and our nature are together inseparable, but yet we are not one. But it's inconceivable. So me as an Atma and my consciousness, to which I'm referring as Chetana, are one. But Atma itself is a commodity, is a spiritual part and parcel, which is sitting in my heart in the body, but its property of consciousness is pervading in the entire body. It's like the flower and flower's fragrance. The fragrance of the flower is going all over in the garden, but it is coming from the flower itself. So consciousness is the symptom of Atma. Does that help?
Okay, no, not really for me, but can you give me, from all your examples, I very nice understand flower and fragrance. Flower and fragrance, which is nature of jiva and which is consciousness? Flower is a nature and fragrance is a consciousness.
Okay, the word nature that we speak in English is sometimes we're referring as the material world, nature, and also it is sometimes identifying the behavior. Like we say, oh, his nature is, very angry nature, his nature is very loving nature. So we're talking about a person and his personality. So that refers to that nature, we say that. But here what we're trying to say when we say consciousness is the quality of Atma. So it is more subtle than nature. nature in English, what we refer to as is more like your behavior, which is basically combination of habits, how I eat, how I live, all that is nature. Consciousness is more deeper than nature. It is the symptom of the soul, soul itself. Now, to make it more easily understand, we can differentiate our identity. So we have this material body, then we have subtle body, which is made up of mind, false ego, and intelligence. And then we have Atma, excuse me, the soul. Consciousness is coming from soul. So it is going even beyond the subtle body. But the nature, when we talk about, so we have to understand, we can talk about the spiritual nature, which is the nature of the soul. And then we can talk about the material nature, which is the nature of the subtle body, the mind, and this physical body. So this is how you can differentiate that.
Okay. A little bit more. Can we discuss this question a little bit more? Because
Okay.
you told that the nature of Jiva is to love God. This is the nature of Jiva. But the question is, my consciousness is covered by illusion. And but my nature is love God. Can I still remember? Why I don't remember my nature? Why this is what if consciousness is covered? Because can I feel my nature? Can I how can I reveal this nature through consciousness?
Very good, very good. Okay. First, let's start from here, that we differentiate our existence in two portions. Technically, in Sanskrit, we call it Chaitan, and second is Jad. Chaitan is conscious, and Jad is inert. Inert means that which doesn't have life. So the world that we have, we can divide in two portions: the living portion of the material world and the dead. So the dead portion, which is made up of 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Again, this material body and everything in this material body. That is lifeless. This portion has no life. There is other part which is conscious, which is the living entity from within all plants, animals, humans, and everything. So now we did separation between two things: the dead and the life, inert and conscious. Now, let's look at the conscious self. Consciousness is the internal symptom of Atma, the spirit soul, which is sitting in the heart. Consciousness is its property. It's not the property of mind. It's not the property of body. It is the consciousness is the property of soul, Atma. Thinking, willing, feeling, and desire. These functions are happening because of the Atma. That which is conscious has these properties: thinking, willing, feeling, and desire. These functions are not the functions of mind, intelligence, or physical body. No. Because we notice as soon as the Atma leaves, even if the material body is there, we don't sense anything. Thinking, willing, and desire has stopped. Now, coming back to our main question, how can I realize my spiritual nature? I am an Atma, I'm a conscious person, and Shastra says that Atma is eternal. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Natvivaham Chatmasam Natum Devi Janadikaha. In second chapter, he tells to Arjuna before fight that, oh Arjuna, there was never a time when I was not existing, you were not existing, or these kings were not existing, and there will not be a time when any of us will cease to be. We are eternal souls, eternal spiritual entities, always present. So consciousness has neither a beginning nor end, regardless if it's a consciousness of a living entity or the Supreme Person, Sri Krishna. They're all eternal. This is my reality. But I have forgotten my spiritual self, and I begin to consider myself as this material body. And then I have a fear of birth, old age, death, and disease. So I've forgotten my spiritual nature. So here in this aspect, when we talk about spiritual nature, we are meaning to say the very fact that I'm a spiritual being, I have forgotten. Now to revive it, to come back to that spiritual self, what do? The Shastra says, you use your tendency to love to uncover yourself. This is a very important point. Even though I have forgotten my spiritual nature, it is still there. It's just that I've forgotten, that's all. It's not that it's not existing. It is there, but I've just forgotten it. So what is happening? How do we notice it? How do I understand it is still there? By noticing myself, what do I really want? I just want to be happy. All the time I want to be happy. Daytime, nighttime, tomorrow, morning, evening, forever. If I ask myself a question, would you like to be unhappy at some time? I don't know, I want to be happy all the time. So this desire to be happy for always is the proof of my spiritual nature, which is basically eternal happiness, because Satchidanand is the Swarup of Krishna and Satchidanand is the Swarup of Atma. So to whom we are referring as consciousness is actually a combination of three elements: Sat, Chit, and Anand, full of eternity, full of bliss, and full of knowledge. Even though I have forgotten my nature, I'm still acting by that nature only, but in a perverted manner. I'm trying to see that permanent happiness, comfort in this material world with all my endeavors. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make an arrangement in this material world where I will have no problems. I will always be happy. Either I be with my family or I do whatever, doesn't matter. But whatever I'm doing in that effort, I'm seeking happiness only. I'm not seeking nothing else. If I want money, I want knowledge, I want to be a big artist, sports person, whatever I want to be. I want to be a businessman. Through that action, I only want happiness. So Shastra says, you cannot do nothing without happiness because you're made up of happiness. So what you need to do now, you need to now redirect that seeking of happiness towards Sri Krishna, towards the Supreme Person, because from there only this desire of eternal happiness will be fulfilled. So what do? I chant these names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, with love and affection. Knowing that these names are completely personal personification of Krishna himself. They're non-different from him. Krishna's name and Krishna's form are completely identical. So knowing this, just like if I would call my brother, my friend, my mother, anything to whom I'm related with love and affection, I call their name and they come to me. Similarly, I call on to Krishna's names with love and affection. And what will happen? This transcendental name will gradually cleanse my heart from this material covering, which has made me forgotten my spiritual nature. And this tendency of loving will now become purified and be directed towards Krishna. Is it helpful?
Yes, Prabhu, very much helpful. Thank you so much. If I have some other very short question. You was talking about Paramatma, and Paramatma sitting in all conditioned soul. What about Atma? when I'm in the spiritual world, do I have Paramatma in my heart?
Very nice, good question. Yes, always, always, always. Paramatma is always with Atma. Never there'll be a time that Atma and Paramatma will not be there. Always. How it manifests in different ways and forms that we can understand. As we grow up in our spiritual life, in our devotion, we grow up, then depending on my particular relationship with the form of the Lord, the Bhagwan manifests his form in that living entity in that particular form. So let me make it clear. As now in the present situation, as we are all material conditioned soul, Krishna is within our heart, always present in the form of Paramatma, in the four-handed form of Vishnu. So Paramatma, when we say Paramatma form of Krishna, then we're talking about a form which is neutrally present. Neutrally means he is not affected by whatever is happening to me. He's only watching. He's witness to all my actions as Paramatma. That's all. He's not doing nothing, just watching everything. Of course, giving the energy to do everything, but he's not interfering in my actions at all. But now look into the personality of Hanuman. In this wonderful pastime, when Hanumanji teared open his chest, what did we see in his heart? We saw the darshans of Sita, Ramji, and Lakshman. So in Hanumanji's heart, Paramatma is not there. It's Sita Ramji sitting. Similarly, who is sitting in the heart of Prahlad Maharaj? Not Paramatma, Nishingadev is sitting. So like this, as we grow up and mature up in our devotional service and we attain perfection and become liberated, at that point, that particular form of the Lord becomes manifested in our Atma, which was before only a Paramatma.
Thank you so much. And the last, very short question. Of course, it's about Lord Chaitanya. In Krishna consciousness, Srila Prabhupada, you was also talking about Srila Prabhupada. He brought to Western world that we need to follow some principle and regulation to become at least some kind of devotee. And he was recommended chanting 16 rounds. Yes, I have interest. How many? We know that Haridas Thakur, he was Namacharya. He was. How many rounds was Lord Chaitanya chanting?
Very good question. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chanted unlimited names, unlimited, because we hear that as he used to go to, go for morning bathroom activities going, and is holding his tongue with his hand to stop the tongue to chant Krishna, because his tongue is non-stop saying Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. And then his servant, Gopal Guru, is saying, Mahaprabhu, why are you holding your tongue like this? He says, see, I'm going to now go past stool in urine, and this tongue is still saying Krishna, Krishna. I'm in impure situation. I shouldn't be chanting Krishna now like that. And then he says, but what if you leave your body in that situation? What will happen then? We're supposed to be chanting Krishna in the last moment of our life, and nobody knows when you will leave the body. So then Mahaprabhu said, yes, you're real Guru. So from this example, we can understand in his sleep, in his dream, in his waking, all the time, Mahaprabhu from all body pores is just chanting Krishna unlimited. Always.
Oh, okay, the question is, did he has Japamala? How he was chanting? Because we all have Japamala, but he came like a devotee to give us example. But did he has a mala, or can I also just chanting without mala, without counting, just Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, and is it okay for me?
Very good question. No, very good question. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did have Japamala. He chanted on Japamala, and you'll be amazed. In some situation, for some reason, there's a pastime I forget the whole detail of it in Chaitanya Charitamrita. In his pastime, it says that somewhere Mahaprabhu was there, and at that time, because most of the time Mahaprabhu was in ecstasy, and when you're in ecstasy, you don't have external consciousness. So in one of those situations, his jap mala was not close to him. So he wanted to chant, but because he used to also chant by counting, it was not that Mahaprabhu was not keeping track of chanting. Some chanting was always there, Sankhya Purvak, by counting. So then what he did, he had cloth, and in cloth he made several knots, and from those knots he was counting and doing Krishna. And same thing is said about Goswamis also. Sankhya Purvak Nama Gananati Bhi Kala Vasani in the Shad Goswami Ashtad, that all the Goswamis, they used to do Krishna Nam with proper counting. So 1 lakh name is the minimum that all Mahaprabhu devotees were chanting Krishna Nam like that. Minimum 1 lakh. This was counted. On top of that, throughout Harinam, non-stop, Nirantara, continuous, was going on. So we all have to chant with counting, making sure we have malas and we're making our 16 rounds, 32 rounds, 64 rounds, whatever we have left, we do that. And then after that, we shouldn't think, oh, now I've done my chanting, I keep my bead bag here on the hook, and I'm done for the day. No, 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 no. You're done your counting. Now you chant Krishna without stopping. Every breath you say Krishna, 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 Krishna. And the magic is, once this tongue develops the taste of Krishna Nam, no matter how hard you try, it will not stop. The name Prabhu, the form of Nam, will come and dance on your tongue, in your heart, in each and every pore of your body. That's how Krishna Nam is. Rupa Goswami says, Tunde Tandavini Rati Mitunate Tundavali Latte Karna Karod Kadambani Gatayate Karnar Bhutepes Praham Chetaha Prangan Sangati Vijayate Krishnani Sangani Vijayate Krishna Ko Jane Janita Kiritipi Krishneti Varnat Koi. So he's saying, oh Krishna, give me unlimited ears, unlimited tongues. Why? Because this Krishna Nam, this 2-letter word Krishna Nam, is doing amazing thing in the courtyard of my senses and through mind that I cannot understand what's going on. So just having 1 tongue and 2 ears is not sufficient. Give me millions and millions of ears and millions of tongue so I can relish the rasa of Krishna Nam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So we stop here today, or any more questions?
Question also. Can I have question also? One
Yes,
question
yes, please.
small.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
I just would like to ask, for example, if I'm just simple person, I'm living in some Haryana or some Gurgaon city, I'm living family life, or maybe I'm student, I have some work. I cannot be engaged in Harinam Sankirtan. I cannot chant even 16 rounds yet. Maybe I chant only 1 round. But I'm interested in what is this Yagya Harinam Sankirtan. I saw on the street what are you doing. I feel so happy, so inspiring. How I can be engaged in this? What can I do? And what can I do? I cannot come in Vrindavan and do this with you. And I don't have so many friends we are doing. So what can I do? How is my feeling in this, my duty, and what is my benefit also from this? Why it should be interesting for me?
A very good question and very practical question. And the answer to this question itself is that if we are intelligent people, then we know very clearly that first of all, no matter if I'm a child, I'm a grown-up person, I'm a student, I'm a businessman, I'm a shop owner, or I'm a household woman, I'm doing many things, I'm very busy, but I'm trying to be happy. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to do anything else. So first of all, question yourself, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, are you happy? Are you satisfied with your life? And if not, then you have to find some way out. And that's where we have seen all over the world, people, scientists, normal people, kids, college graduates, all scholars, celebrities, everywhere. People are taking up to Krishna consciousness because they have attained the life's best situations that people here in these countries are trying to dream in their life. That making hard work, I'll make money, I'll be very happy, I'll have car, I'll have house, and then no matter, whatever you may have. We see people who have it, they're not satisfied, they're not happy in life. So people who are taking up to Krishna consciousness very easily, they're able to carry on with their worldly responsibilities because you don't have to give up your present situation in life. Only you have to give up bad habits. You have to only give up something that makes your body sick. Don't take liquor, don't eat meat. These things are not good for your health anyways. So you become pure. And then you give up gambling, give up illicit sex, bad things of your life. You give up. And you can do that at your place only. Purify your life. Make your heart pure. Make your consciousness pure. So give these things away. And if you can chant 1 round, very good. You can chant 2, very good. You start from there. And you connect yourself with devotees through this Sankirtan program. And today is much easier. Even if you're not able to come to Vrindavan, we have technology, so many social media platforms. Today is no problem at all. You connect with these online sessions, and through there, you offer your services, your talent, your time, your queries, and then gradually absorb yourself into Krishna consciousness because you're doing these things anyways for material things, for material pleasures. You're watching YouTube videos, you're doing so many material things just by sitting at your heart, home only. Same way, you can engage yourself into spiritual life through these methods. Today, we're the most luckiest generation because we have so much advancement in technology. We made our life so easy. So now what we need to do, the time we have now saved by making all the machines do our work, take all that time to absorb yourself into realizing your spiritual self, into Krishna consciousness. And through the connection of this modern technology and media and chanting through Sankirtan program, you can very easily follow Krishna consciousness. Yes, that's good. Okay, so today we will stop our video class here and then pray to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all the devotees that we be blessed and we be able to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, forever, always. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.